So I'm out on a walk tonight and doing a lot of self reflection, contemplation. And one of the first things that comes to mind is a scene from Tombstone where, you know, Doc Holliday, Wyatt Earp, his brothers, they're discussing the fear in the city and the crime and how the good people are afraid to go out at night. Right, wrong, or indifferent, which is what my dad used to say. Since I've got to walk about 3 miles a night on average to keep my weight down, to just make sure I'm in optimum health so that my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids and my great great grandkids will get to meet their great great grandpa, Dr. Kenny Rhodes. I believe with all my heart the Lord has granted me to at least the age of 90. And the Lord will give me some options once I hit 90. But I have another 40 years of fruitful ministry. I've prepared for the last 30 years. And I think Billy Graham once said that he'd rather prepare for 30 years and have a 3-year ministry than to prepare for 3 years and have a 30-year ministry. So I'm right in line to really just be what God wants me to be. And I'm out here on the streets of Charleston, and I'm trying to be a good man. I'm trying to give some of the people here peace, and by God's grace, they see me walking around. They have a big smile on their faces. And my goodness, that is one of the biggest cats I have ever seen. Wow. He's bigger than Pumpkin. Anywho, I digest. Boy, I look old. You know, trying to be a good man, standing up for what's right. And I just been to thinking that most of you folks here on YouTube, you have not a clue what true Christianity is all about. I guarantee it. Come out here, walk the streets with me, look at the people's pain, look at their fear, and let's see how far your Christianity actually gets you where the rubber meets the road. I'm sorry, I have no respect for ivory tower scholars these days because we've made it about ourselves and not people. Now, I'm not saying that, if the Lord gave me an opportunity, I would study for another 10 years before I would feel confident that the Lord had truly changed me into a person that could face all challenges, all temptations. And when I mean temptations, I mean just, not thumping people in the head. Let's face it, this wokeness, this is not reality. The fact that you can talk reason into people is not always the case. Many of you saw my black eye about a month or so ago. And that was because I got hit in the head with a brick by somebody that was having some sort of a meth fit. And I had to defend myself. But I didn't want to do it. the thing is to be as Moses, the meekest man, that is power under constraint. Now, my Uncle Bubby demonstrated to me power under constraint. Now, he whipped about everybody in town here in Charleston and in California. He was Golden Gloves champ. He was Mr. West Virginia, Ohio, Tennessee, I think. Very, very powerful men in my family. But my Uncle Bubby was so gentle with me and so loving to me that he showed me what a real man is all about. A man who protects the ones he loves and protects those who don't have a voice. My Aunt Ruth has told me stories about my Uncle Bubby where he stood up for people. He bought them food. They were out on the street, said, "Come in, eat with us." And the owners of the restaurants weren't too thrilled. And he says, "Hey, if they're not welcome, I'm not welcome." And he would use his power to do right. And by God's grace, I'm trying to use every bit of the power I have. I'm not the toughest guy in the world, but I'm not the weakest guy in the world. Let's just say I am no Jamie Russell, who is just pretty to look at, but is a big old sissy. Now, subscribe to his channel. He's a friend of mine. He makes a lot of mistakes. I don't agree with, maybe 10% of his theology, but Jamie Russell is a brother. I love him with all my heart, and he's a good man. Subscribe to his channel and watch us both. Jamie and I have a similar history. Jamie is just not as pretty as I am, so he didn't have the opportunities. I tend to call it not white privilege, but pretty privilege. Let's face it. In this world, if you're not pretty like me, you ain't gonna make it. As Rob Lowe says in Wayne's World, good looks, charm can get you almost to the top. And let's just say I've gotten to the top on my charm, good looks. Ladies and gentlemen, the one standing before you is smarter than Forrest Gump, but yet just as charming. I know I don't look very pretty tonight because it's been a long day. I didn't get a chance to really comb my hair today, just threw the hat on, and I got kind of a man bun going on here, so I know I look like a hot mess. Or as Kelly Clarkson says, a beautiful disaster. Now, little musical history here. Kelly Clarkson wrote that song, Beautiful Disaster, about me. Okay, so Tammy and Kelly, they were having lunch together one day. And Tammy's telling her about how beautiful I am, how just a pretty man. And Tammy tells me the older I get, the better lookings I get. And I like that. Flattery will get you everywhere with me. Although I look pretty haggard right now. But what was I saying? Oh, yes. Me. Let's talk about me. And as I suspected, silence from the crowd when discussing me, because everybody is just in awe of my swaggery and my prettiness. Sorry, my glasses were a little askew. Anywho, I'm just out here trying to do the Lord's will. Shout out to Dr. Falk. I'm doing my best, brother, to continue with the plans for ministry out here. And the Lord's really doing some good things in my own life, which everybody knows. There's a few things I got to work on. And, me being a victim and, born with a disability and learning disability that nobody knew until I was 48. And, I'm just, I was sexually assaulted by myself when I was young. And I'm a victim. I'm a victim. And I need to call in my victim points. No, never mind. I'm going to stand up to all the crap that's happened to me, and I'm not going to give excuses for my bad behavior. I have been wrong. I have hurt people. I have bullied people. And I'm sorry. But I have bullied people who have been bullies. Now, that's not an excuse. But I have become what you might call the anti-hero in my heart. I am Deadpool. Of course, I haven't watched the movies, don't know a whole lot about it. I just know that, sometimes superheroes are terribly flawed. And while I fashion myself as, some sort of Spider-Man out here, as a matter of fact, because I'm not as tough as I used to be, I use my brain more than my brawn. And I've got the kids out here. Number one, they love my Rhodes Red Racer motorcycle or bicycle, motor bicycle. And it's an opportunity for me to reach some of these rough teenage kids. The kid that beat up an elderly man. Now I want to whip his butt. But I've learned that hurting people hurt people. And the continuance of that kind of activity is so not good. And I've been guilty. The Lord has really revealed to me, and I don't mean this in any kind of prideful way, but the Lord tells me I'm Darth Vader, The Lord kind of showed me that I have used my own victimhood, quote unquote, or my own pain in life to justify in the last 9 months inflicting pain on other people. Now, they deserve it from my point of view, and I will never be convinced otherwise. But is it my place to bring out justice? No, it's not, and I've been wrong. And so now I'm trying to be a better man. I'm trying to let people speak into my life. My daughter gave me the what for a couple weeks ago and used it in my own life. I'm not too proud to let people speak into my life, those that love me. That's been my biggest issue, is that, so many people out there claim to want to, know what's going on, know what this, know what that is. But here's the thing. Most people want to know that for gossip, and most people want to tear others down in order to lift themselves up. Let's just face it. Boy, I look pretty haggard. Anyway, it's been a long day, and I'm just trying to speak some honesty. And now I forgot what I was talking about because there's somebody walking in the shadows. And I am ADHD, so my brain does not filter out any sensory information. So my attention can be drawn off at any moment And I've got some biological reasonings for that. I found here in West Virginia, I am the first generation born outside of this context in 400 years. So I was adapted to a context where a lot of neurodiversity is prominent in the population because it's a matter of fight or flight. I was telling my Uncle Pete a couple weeks ago that people like me, even though my brain can be very irritating to others and misunderstood, you want people like me in the hunting tribe because I'm going to be able to see things and hear dangers that nobody else is going to be able to hear. Because why? I don't have an executive function. I hear everything. I see everything. I sense everything. I feel everything. Color and vocabulary and sounds are kind of miswired in my brain. At times, if I really focus in, I can. Now there's somebody standing in their house. I don't blame them, looking at me. You know, curtains slightly pulled. They think I don't see them looking at me, but again, I don't blame them. I'm standing here underneath the street light, but I know everything that's going around me. It makes me very irritating to work with. They call it a learning disability, but it's actually a superpower if you just let me be who I am. God created me to be Kenny, and that is kind of a adjective where I come from there in California. Sometimes when people are trying to explain things about me, they say, well, it's Kenny. And as Tammy and I were discussing some months ago, she said, you're really embracing your eccentricness and your uniqueness. And I said, yes, my love, because all my life I have been made to feel bad, not on purpose. I'm not impugning anybody, but I've been made to feel bad about myself, about how I process life, about how I see things. I see things differently. I can hyper-focus and lose myself in contemplating just the slightest thing. I sit for hours and think about mathematical relationships that I can't put numbers to, but I can kind of see and discern intuitively relationships that I was never able to when I was younger, or I should say after I'd grown up. I could do it when I was younger. After I'd grown up, and I'm tired of seeing myself here on camera, so I'm just gonna let you all see the neighborhood. But I want to encourage everybody, be yourselves. Don't be afraid to embrace your abnormality, whatever that means. These days, I consider the normal to be, what's the best word? To be handicapped in life. They are the ones that have a disability. When, for example, you think about whenever you walk out the door, there's a certain amount of probability that you will not come home that night because of random things. Struck by lightning, car accident, whatever it might be. Now, my brain was never able to filter out and somehow live in a fantasy where there was no danger in this world. And so my brain would focus on all the little tiny things that cause danger in life. And I learned that normality is somehow the ability to numb yourself to the dangers of real life. And that is really, really, really fascinating to me. So to be normal, in one sense, means that you can enter into a fantasy world about reality that doesn't take into consideration the real dangers, the real issues, and just the parts that put together reality. Normal people can ignore that. I can't. And it's a very, very, very interesting way to live. I've rambled now for 20 minutes and probably said nothing, so I've got a truck driver coming up here. I'm standing in front of Yellow Freight, and just being friendly to everybody. Like I said, as I walk these streets and see the crazies on my block, I see the same old faces and I hear the same old talk. Mean Street, Van Halen, Fair Warning, Look It Up. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, people appreciate somebody who's willing to stand up against the wrong and stand up against thugs and, go after those that victimize the helpless. That's all I got to say about that. Y'all come back now, you hear?